Hello and welcome back to Movie Reviews. Our theater finally got Mud. Mud opened a month ago, and we're just now getting it this month. So, not sure what the deal is there, but we finally got it, so I checked it out. It was actually a pretty good movie. Not quite what I thought it was going to be, but actually a little bit better than what I thought it was going to be, but at the same time a little bit worse than what I thought it was going to be. So if that kind of gives you a hint towards what my star rating is eventually going to be, you might be mistaken. So the story of Mud is these two boys. They're kind of, I don't necessarily want to say swamp people, but their families live on the river. They fish and sell the fish to make money. Well, at least that's what one of them does. The other one has a uncle who he lives with. I think his parents died or something. So he lives with his uncle, and his uncle's a clam diver. He dives down, collects clams, and sells those. And as he's out diving one day, he notices that on one of the islands near where he dives, there's a boat stuck up in a tree. So he tells his nephew about it, and his nephew and the other boy, who's the main character of the movie, go out and they check out the boat and the tree. Like, who else knows about this? And one boy said, what's the boy's name? Oh, jeez, I just watched it, I can't remember the name. The one boy's name is Neckbone, and what the hell's the main character's name? I forget. Anyway, so the main character asks Neckbone, who else knows about this? And he says, just me, you, and my uncle. He goes, what are your uncle's plans for it? And he goes, I don't think he really cares, otherwise he wouldn't have told me about it. So they say, okay, it's going to be ours, it's going to be our secret, don't tell anyone. Basically, they're going to turn it into a tree house. So they're up checking it out, and they find out that someone's been living in the boat. So they're like, okay, well, let's get out of here. We got to be back, and, I got to help my dad with the fish rounds and stuff like that, going out selling the fish. So as they're leaving, they meet Mud. And he asks them, he kind of explains that he's in a rough situation and asks them if they can help him out by bringing him some food. The next day, they do bring him back out some food. And he kind of tells them, I got into some trouble, and I'm kind of hiding here, and explains that. So basically, his story unravels over the course of the movie. Basically, what it is he's been in love with this girl since they were kids, and they're together for a while. Then she runs off with someone else, and they break up. And then the guys that she always ends up with are not the best people, and they get kind of abusive, and when they do, she goes back to Mud goes and beats up the people who were beating her up. And you later find out that the last boyfriend she had, when Mud went to beat him up, it escalated and he ended up killing the guy. But the guy's family has loose ties to like a mafia type of thing, so the dad is sending out hitmen looking for Mud to get revenge for his son being killed. So then Mud's like, okay, well, I gotta get out of here. I'm gonna have to get this boat down out of the tree and back into the water. Can you guys give me some supplies so I can fix up the boat once we get it down? So then they're running around trying to get the supplies that he needs to fix the boat. They find his girlfriend in town, and they start kind of delivering messages back and forth between them, because the plan is that once the boat's ready, they'll bring her out to the island and they'll sail off together. And she just at one point decides that she can't handle life on the run, and even though she does love Mud, she just can't go with him. And Mud's finally like, I'm on the run now because of you, so I can't do this anymore, so we're over type of thing. And they end up breaking up. So then Mud's coming to see the boy before he takes off, and the other guy who he killed, his father finally tracks him down to the boy's house somehow, and they come after him, and that's kind of the end of the movie. There's a big shootout scene in the boy's house, and they lead you to think Mud's dead, but by the end of the movie you find out that he's not. So that's the basic premise of Mud. There's a lot more that goes on in it. There's kind of a subplot of the boy is in love with this girl from his school who's now a grade ahead of him, so she's going into high school while he's finishing up junior high. And at first she likes him, and he thinks that they're boyfriend and girlfriend, but then she kind of turns into that whole high school type of girl where she can't be seen with someone younger than her because of whatever. And then there's this thing where, you know, he's kind of defensive over her the way Mud was over his girlfriend. And then he finally realizes that he can't live his life the way Mud did, because look where it got Mud. So he finally just, you know, lets the girl go. He's kind of a puss about it. He ends up crying over it and stuff when she kind of dumps him, but he finally gets over it. Yeah, so there's a lot more going on to it, but I gave you the basic premise. It is a pretty good movie, so I do recommend checking it out. Other than that, as far as the star rating goes, again, I'm going to give this one a 3.5, but it's going to be a high 3.5. It's not quite one of those movies that I would give a 4 or higher to, but it's still a decent movie. I was actually entertained by it. It's not middle of the road enough to get a 3. It actually had quite a bit going on to it. It was a pretty decent story. So it's a 3.5. I think I gave The Great Gatsby a 3.5 as well, and I do like this better than I like The Great Gatsby. So, yeah, it's a 3.5, but it's a high 3.5, where The Great Gatsby is more of a mid 3.5. So let's say pushing 3 3/4 stars, even though I don't do quarter stars. So high 3.5. Anyway, so that's Mud. I believe we are getting Star Trek Into Darkness this week. So hopefully if that goes the same way Iron Man did, I might be able to see it sometime in the next couple days. Probably have to wait till after the weekend, and might end up having to see it in 3D, because for some reason our 3D movies don't seem to do quite as well as our 2D does, which is weird because every place else it seems that 3D does awesome. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. That's the next one I plan to see, because I think the only other movies in our theater that I haven't watched yet are, I think just Tyler Perry's Temptation, and I really don't want to watch that. I'm sure I'll end up watching it at some point when I have nothing else to watch again, just like I did with Great Gatsby and 42, but for right now, if I can hold out for Star Trek, that's what I'm going to do. So one of those two movies will be my next review. Hopefully it's Star Trek. Not sure though. So until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the movies.